Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. We finally got it, full-blown crossover. This is going to be my Flash episode 8 video. Just careful for spoilers if you haven't seen it yet. Let's see who's really the fastest. So many comic book things in this episode. It was so wonderful. And what about that Hall of Justice? They even lit it up at night just so that you would focus on it. Super Friends Unite. So just a quick reminder, there is a Flash Ring giveaway that's going on right now. That's right, I brought the Flash Rings back to the giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber, leave a comment on this video, make sure you turn alerts on so you don't miss anything. But let's do top 10 WTF in comic book Easter eggs. So number 10, that final scene from Supergirl. They literally just took a scene from The Flash and tacked it on to the end of Supergirl, so it was kind of a WTF, but I understand why they did it. They're still trying to logistically fit Supergirl into the CW universe, just because behind the scenes is so complicated. So I think that next year it'll be a little more integrated. You'll see more Supergirl characters come in for whatever the crossover is going to be. But the other big reason is that the Dominators are only invading Earth 1, but they do explain that Kara's Earth is Earth 38, so confirmed Earth 38. The 38 doesn't seem like an Easter egg to me right now because it doesn't refer to any specific Supergirl stuff, like Justice League number 38 isn't a Supergirl story, the Flash number 38 isn't a Supergirl story, so they might have some other hidden relevance behind that 38 number, but they did explain that the Dominators of Supergirl's universe would come back in the back half of the season. So these Dominators are just in Barry and Oliver's universe, which kind of explains why it's only a three-way crossover, but it would have been cool to see the Flash help out with Cyborg Superman. Either way, number 9, Kid Flash is getting faster and faster. They just want to get him ready, I think, for the back half of the season. Even though Cisco gets really pissed off, they do say, don't tell him about the suit. So Wally will end up in that suit sooner rather than later. Speaking of which, number 8, Wally save late in the game. They had this storyline in the episode that felt a little disingenuous, like Iris is like, don't go, nobody tell him that he's awesome, everybody tell him that he sucks. Even HR is like, nope, when Wally asks him to train him the first time, the second time he relents. But even if Wally didn't have powers, he would still want to help out. I felt like this was the weirdest storyline in the episode. Don't tell Wally he's awesome, but he does help out. It's a great takedown. It's a really simple scene, he helps out, calls himself Kid Flash, and then gets taken out by Supergirl. So he'll probably be back by the mid-season finale, definitely by episode 10. So I think we're all happy about that. We want a Kid Flash back in the game. This whole early season of The Flash, this Wally storyline, has been drug out way too much. But number 7, aliens, yo. Something out of a Ridley Scott nightmare. I like the alien shout out. So the Dominators invade, and they learn from Lila that this happened in the 1950s, but the weird part of this is that the government wants to handle it. Now, it's not just Argus, it's the larger government that Argus is a part of. So Lila learns a little bit of the politicking, but the president, who's totally down to go after the Dominators, gets yoinked. So that kind of sets off the mind control storyline. But number 6, Flash isn't going to sit things out. Of course he's not going to sit things out. So they immediately cut to Star City. I like the way they cut that edit, where Oliver and Diggle are chasing down Vigilante. If you haven't been watching Arrow this season, he is one of the few villains on the show now that Oliver's going after. So Barry saves them in the exact same way that he grabbed the boomerangs from the first Arrow Flash crossover. There were actually a couple references and moments in this episode that called back to that first one. Like when Supergirl got mind controlled. You're not the first superhero to get mind controlled, like Barry did during Flash vs. Arrow. Number 5, they go to meet at a giant warehouse that Barry just happens to have. Thea says, you should do something with this, but it's like an empty warehouse, but then when they show the exterior, it's the Hall of Justice that they had been putting in the poster promos. In the Hall of Justice is actually from the Super Friends cartoon. It's where the Justice League headquarters are, so you could call them the Super Friends, you could call them TV Justice League. It's much closer to TV Justice League, but this is them full on doing it, especially when they lit it up at night. So that also kind of reminded me of HR's plan to turn Star Labs into a museum, like he was getting ready to pitch them when the episode started. So that might also be leading to the Flash Museum. They could just combine the Hall of Justice with the Flash Museum, because Barry saw it when he traveled back to save his mother in season 1. So eventually we have to get the Flash Museum. It's the Hall of Justice. That's the new thing we never thought that we were going to get. So now that building exists. So just imagine how they're going to use it next year. By the time we get to next year, there'll also probably be a lot cooler stuff inside there too. They all introduce each other, the legends arrive, Diggle has his funny joke moment. The reason I don't take drugs is because I'm worried I'll see weird stuff. Like he threw up when Barry saved him, so Diggle always has the greatest reactions when weird stuff happens. But number 4, really big deal. Barry's future message is revealed. The future Flash cannot be trusted for some reason. Causes like some other big flashpoint change. I think what they meant to say, they were a little confusing about the way they explained the war in the future. I've gone back in time, changed things. My understanding is that future Barry was just explaining Flashpoint, the first Flashpoint, the one that we saw happen on The Flash, to Rip Hunter, but this is older Barry, and it also ties up with the future newspaper, Flash Vanishes in Crisis. So now they brought back the Flash newspaper. We haven't seen it in a while. Iris West isn't the author anymore, so there are changes. It just reflects the changes because of Flashpoint. So now Barry's in the shit with the rest of the team. Diggle is pissed when he learns out about baby Sarah now being baby John. I mean, he's happy that his son exists, but knowing that he had a daughter and Barry just changed that just completely sucks. So I feel like most of the team's reactions to Barry are justified. They just wanted to create conflict so that Barry would not go get MC'd so that he could save them later. So you can argue the logic of their decisions, but I feel like it's okay to be mad at Barry. But Cisco did have that funny line where he said, apparently now it's illegal to be mad at Barry. Number 3, Team Flash versus Supergirl. She just laughs at all of their attacks like they tickle her. Just completely remind you how invincible she is compared to the others. So they might bring the kryptonite ring in at some point, like Batman has the kryptonite ring in case Superman ever goes nuts. So given more team-ups, I wouldn't be surprised if Oliver finds a way to make a kryptonite ring. Barry feels like he'd be too hopeful for something like that. Like, oh, my friend Kara, she would never do something to hurt me. Oliver is the pessimistic one. He plans for the future. So if anybody's getting a kryptonite ring, it would be Oliver. But that almost reminds me, like talking about rings, I'm doing the Flash ring giveaway. Cisco also tells the Atom that he wants to upgrade his suit, but he's like later, after we're done with this. So if you thought the Atom suit looked kind of bogus, if you didn't like it in season 1, they're gonna make it way cooler now. So number 2 is Oliver and Barry versus the team, like an evil Justice League team up. This is as close to Crime Syndicate as I think we're gonna get for a little while. So Oliver and Barry versus the Crime Syndicate. Barry takes down a bunch of the aerial ones with the lightning throw. Oliver takes down the melee fighters, makes sense. Then Wally comes in, helps take them out, and I love the way Flash took out the mind control device by phasing Supergirl through him, or essentially he phased so that she just ran right through him. The number 1, of course, is them getting beamed up into a Dominator's ship, setting the stage for the Matrix-like Arrow 100th episode. So that'll explain the dreamlike state that they're in. They'll all be in these pods. I don't know how much of the episode they're going to spend in that dream, but it's their 100th episode, so that big speech that Barry gave to Oliver, it was a really awesome speech about how he's not a god, it's not his fault that time changes, everybody makes choices that change the timeline. But when he said, I would do anything to be able to go back and change what happened to my mother, I felt so powerless, so helpless. Of course they're setting that up for the Arrow episode, so they're totally going to pay off all that Oliver stuff. Like he explains how his father killed himself and the other passenger in the life raft so that Oliver could survive. All that is going to be followed up on in the Arrow 100th episode. So even though this is just the first part of the crossover, they've done a good job of setting things up that they'll pay off in the next 2 episodes. But for those of you asking about future Flash stuff, so they were talking about the war. I think they'll follow up on that and it'll have something to do with the Savitar storyline. So like each of the shows will take little bits from this big crossover and it'll inform what's happening with their storylines. Like Sarah talks about not being able to go back in time to save Laurel. They're going to follow up with that on Legends. Obviously Arrow has all the 100th episode stuff and that will spin into Laurel stuff as well. But for those of you asking what that future war is, you could think of that as future Flash from the comics who just decides that he can't be trusted, so he has to go back in time to kill himself. Obviously, that's not going to happen on the TV show. It's just meant to be like the worst possible thing that could ever happen to them. So like Oliver said, that people's choices always change the future. That's going to happen on The Flash. Like they're going to have to find a way to change what's happening this season to make a better future. So it's always fun when you know that things are going to complete shit. Okay, well we know where we're ending up, so we have to try to avoid that now. But let me know what was your favorite moment from the episode. I feel like Oliver and Barry versus the team was probably my favorite. They opened the episode with that, so naturally it was like the biggest part of the episode. But let's do it this way. Everybody leave a like if you want to see a future crossover versus like a crime syndicate for them to actually do something like that. But I do feel like in a future season, they might do Manhunters, something like big enough like Warworld, Mongol to merit the need for all these people to team up. It has to be someone big, someone that Barry couldn't just take down himself using his Speed Force powers. But get hype for Arrow 100th episode tomorrow. Deathstroke is going to lay the smackdown. I'm so excited about Deathstroke. There's so much other stuff happening in the episode too. I mean, if you're a really big fan of Black Canary, Arrow stuff in the comics, they're going to be doing a lot of that stuff. But really, like Deathstroke, like all the people that we haven't seen in forever, seeing Oliver's father, seeing a couple other people we haven't seen in a while. I'm expecting Tommy, but pretty much every big cast member they've ever had on Arrow is supposed to be on. I don't know about Roy though. I haven't heard anything about him guest starring. I haven't seen him in any of the promos, so he would be the big surprise, like if Roy showed up. But what's going to happen is I'll post another bonus video tomorrow morning, I'll post a Rick and Morty video, and then Arrow 100th episode. So there should be 3 videos, but if I don't think I'm going to get that Rick and Morty video out, I'll just let you guys know when I post that first one. While you guys wait for that to post, you can click here for my part 1 video that explains what's going on this week, what to watch out for, and you can click here for my Game of Thrones Season 7 teaser trailer. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.